To view and edit entries collected by your form, click on the Entries button under the form's name. This will take you to the EntryManager, a powerful data browsing tool to help you manage the information collected by your form. The EntryManager is divided into two parts, a viewing section at the top and a data grid at the bottom that contains a table of recently submitted entries. When you first come to the EntryManager, you can either create a new entry or select an entry that's been collected by your Wufoo form. I'm going to go ahead and make a new submission. The form in the EntryManager contains the same fields and validations as the one we created in the Form Builder. It's conveniently accessible here in case you want to avoid going back and forth between browser windows or want to enter data without having to make your form publicly available on the internet. Notice that the data grid is fixed to the bottom of the interface so that it's always accessible even when we scroll to see the rest of the form or entry. I'm going to go ahead and create a new submission now. When I submit the entry, the data grid is automatically updated with the new submission information. By default, the data grid sorts entries by entry ID. If you want to sort your entries by a different column, click on a different column header at the top of the table. Clicking again will sort the data in the opposite direction. One of the nice things about Wufoo's data grid is that you can customize the columns to show more or less information about your entries based on what's relevant to you. To adjust the columns, click on the green box with the plus sign. This will bring up a menu list of columns available for the data grid. I'm going to have the data grid show the IP address of the user that submitted the entries, and then click Done. Notice that I can now see the IP addresses in its own column. If I click on one of the entries in the data grid, Wufoo will show the entry in the top viewing section in edit mode. There's lots of things I can do now that I've selected an entry. I can view the information in a read-only format, clicking on View. I can add a comment. I can browse to the next entry. And I can send myself a copy of the entry to an email address of my choosing. When I view the entry in my email client, I can see that Wufoo sent the information in the same easy-to-read format presented in the EntryManager. I'm going to go back to the EntryManager now. To change the information in an entry, click on the Edit button. The EntryManager will then change out of the read-only format and present the information inside the Wufoo form so it can easily be changed and saved. When you're dealing with multiple entries, the EntryManager presents a number of useful functions to filter and act on your data. To quickly search your entries for a word or phrase, use the quick search input at the top of the data grid. For advanced filtering, you can get more options by clicking on the search icon. After you filter your data the way you want it, if you click on the Bulk Actions link, you'll be presented with a way to delete multiple entries at once, or export your entries to an Excel-friendly format.